And July.
Hey, welcome everyone to the Nottawa Memorial Community Center Hall Board meeting for October 13th, 2021. Do we have anybody that can motion to approve the agenda?
Sure, I will.
Patrice?
And I'll second that, Carrie.
Thanks, Councillor Deneen. All in favor? Okay. Disclosure of disqualifying interests. Anybody receiving any funds?
No, as a matter of fact.
Did you
Oh,
ever
you
get,
got
get
paid?
No.
Oh, okay. Remind us when we're in business then to deal with that again. Okay,
Patrice, sorry, just to update you on that. Patrice, I've spoken to Emmy and she noticed that because she had sent it a while back to the mailing address that I confirmed with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're correct, you haven't received it. It hasn't been cashed. So she's going to cancel it and hand it to Phyllis.
Oh,
Okay, and I know where Phyllis lives.
Yes, so that we'll do it that way. You will get your flower money.
I haven't been
perfect.
I know where all of you live, so I wasn't too worried.
Thanks, Kayla, for that. Anybody have anything, sorry, approval for the minutes from last meeting? Did anybody have any concerns or did they all look in order?
I
Look
couldn't
fine,
see any-
Carrie.
Yeah, look fine to me too.
Anybody want a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Councillor Deneen, thank you.
I will
Anybody
second.
Thanks, Calvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Business arriving from the minutes. So rental rates, we were discussing on whether we were going to look at increasing our rental rates when we reopen.
Most places have.
Sorry, Patrice.
I said most places have. Because there's increased costs, so.
I don't know if that's something that we want to wait until Jason's with us to discuss as a full board.
I think that would be a good idea, probably, Carrie.
Okay. So if everyone's okay with that, we'll just defer that till next meeting.
Okay.
Yep, that's fine.
Oh, I think that was Jason would give us the AODA walkthrough update he was to go through with Terry. So I think we'll have to postpone that till next meeting as well.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Not much of a chairperson here, am I?
You're
Doing
doing
great. Doing great.
Proof of vaccination communication update. I think that's also Jason. Unless anyone can enlighten, I don't know what that's regarding.
Yes, so in your attachments, there's
Yes.
communication from Terry Bachon that's just clarifying the procedures and protocols and the responsibilities of the hall board and volunteers for rentals.
Okay, thanks, Kayla. Okay, and to be honest, I did not look at that. I completely missed that attachment. Sorry, guys. Did anybody else read it and anyone else have anything to enlighten us?
Pretty straightforward.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess that's just all there for us to review anyway, so I will definitely look at that. I apologize for not seeing it ahead of time. Maintenance report.
Not much to report on the maintenance side of things. I was in there last week and everything was fine.
It looks pretty good behind you there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Calvin. How about bookings update?
Bookings update is fairly simple at this point, as we are currently closed and we no longer have our renter. They've decided to no longer rent with us and they've taken all of their stuff out of the hall, in the exception of that that commercial industrial mixer that they had placed in that they were going to eventually wanted to put the wiring in for, which never happened. So the mixer's been in the basement in the kitchen the whole time. And they actually are going to hire a moving company to get that out of there and back to their place in the very near future. So once I get an update from them on that, that will be the last thing of theirs that have to go.
Okay.
Can I ask,
Um,
Calvin, did you get the key back from those folks, or did they just using the key in the key box?
Key box.
Okay, I wasn't sure what the status was there. Good, thank
No.
you.
They never had it. They never had the key. They always used the key box.
Okay,
Also to note, there is the potential for another renter, which would be the Clearview Township staff for union meetings.
Oh.
And as we're closed right now, they don't need much advance notice to book in. However, they don't really have the ability to use direct deposit or to do the e-transfer within their union. However, because it is the Clearview employees that work at the Clearview Township, figured it'd be okay on this one to accept a check to drop off at the desk when it happens and fill out the rental form that way and do their safety plan with the township.
Yeah.
So that they can handle the contact tracing and whatnot. So I just want to make sure everyone was okay with that decision as a one-off, seeing as, I mean, township staff are always at the township office. It's probably okay to do it that way.
I can't see an issue.
makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
And
Yeah.
they were also taking care of sending in Caring Hands and paying for our cleaning company to go in after them as well. And that is part of the rental agreement that had been worked out with them,
Nice.
so that we can continue with the normal rental rate and they will pay for the cleaning company to follow in after.
That works very well. Good job.
Perfect.
I don't know if you know the answer to this, Kelvin, or not, but I think maybe before Adam even came on board, there was an invoice from Caring Hands. Was that ours or was that from the union meeting? Do you know?
I think Jason had booked Clearing Hands in to go in and clean once.
Okay,
So I think that was separate from the union meeting.
okay, I wasn't sure. I didn't think we'd had any rentals aside from that, so that's what I wondered if it was the union folks.
I think we were planning on opening up. And because we had the other renter in there and the hall hadn't been cleaned in a while, I think we did bring in Caring Hands. But I would like to confirm with Jason. I know I didn't book them. Maybe maybe Jason had.
Okay. Okay. New business.
Before we move on to new
Oh.
business, staying with bookings, I think now would be a good time to actually pass the torch for bookings over to Adam, if he's willing to accept.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Perfect. And I will stay as backup. I won't delete the email from my phone or accessing it. And if you need any help with anything, feel free to reach out. But as of now, I nominate Adam to be the booking agent.
Perfect. Works for me. That's good. I'll take over it.
Awesome.
Keep things for now. Good.
Thanks so much, Adam.
No, you're welcome.
Mhm.
Happy to help.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Adam.
And thank you, Kelvin, for pitching in for all that time. Wearing multiple hats.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That's affecting the top of my head lately too.
New business, volunteer vaccination policy. And again, if that was an attachment, I apologize, I missed it. I looked at the agenda and that was it.
I think it's something for everyone to read and then come back to us with at the next meeting as well, Carrie.
Okay,
It's something that everybody has to read on their own, but it's something that they do have to look at and actually read.
okay. Okay, I will definitely do that.
So
Uh,
I apologize too. I haven't had a chance to read this either. I missed some of the attachments like Carrie did. But just for clarification, like can Doug or Phyllis provide clarification on what it means to volunteers if they are not vaccinated?
It looks pretty lengthy, to be honest, Calvin. I think it's 7 pages or something.
Yeah,
That's
I
correct.
noticed that.
Yeah. I think it's pretty clear, Calvin, and to all the volunteers that, the township is not taking any heavy-handed approach towards all this. We've been advised by the Muskoka District Health Unit and through the Province of Ontario Ministry of Health that this type of policy, needs to be in place for our employees, volunteers, students, contractors, etc. It was debated at council in a pretty good debate, and it has been passed as a council supported resolution. Interesting to note, though, that the entire document is under the authority of the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer. So the CAO, as the head of the bureaucracy of the corporation, has the authority to set those policies. And I know that he met with the members of the senior management team, including our HR manager, and they drafted the policy to be very reflective of the same policy that's at the county of Simcoe. And so, again, staff, volunteers, students, contractors, etc., anyone who is in any way connected to the corporation of Clearview Township is impacted by this policy. And so there you go. The interesting side of it, of course, is for employees, it has to do with their position and their status and their ability to perform their work. For volunteers, as it's very casual and very unscheduled activities for volunteers. I don't believe there's any policy in place about making any type of enforcement. I think it's more of an advisory thing, but you'll have to discuss that directly with the HR manager if you have any questions about it, or you can contact the CAO and have a conversation with him about it as well. But a couple of conversations I've had with John, I can just share with you that he's clear. This is not meant in any way to be any heavy-handed policy. It's simply there because we've been directed to do it, and by all accounts and all directions pointing us in the favor of vaccination policy and vaccination in general across our whole community is what we're going to need to continue to beat COVID-19. And as a public agency, we have to follow those directions to the best of our ability. So that's basically all I can say from my desk. And so I ask everyone to take a read of it, as Councillor Tanine said. Have a look at it, and if you have any concerns, questions, to reach out to our HR manager or directly to the CAO. That's my best advice.
And I'm just going to add that things are constantly changing, as everybody knows. Things can just change on a dime. But when I was speaking to Amanda, and I'll put it out there, Amanda made it very clear that the policy for renters, for reoccurring anyway, the reoccurring renter, was that they had to have had their first vaccination as of September 22nd, and a second one within a certain length of time afterwards, the 21, 28 days, whatever it was. And in order to continue to be within the community center. As I say, that's constantly changing, but that's what the rules are. And it is very, very strict. What they are saying are exceptions to that. You have to have had an inoculation and had an adverse reaction to it to have an exemption. That's plain and simply what I was told. And that's the way I understood it to be. And but things are constantly changing, and we'll just hope that something changes, that things will be a little more lenient in the future. Thanks, guys.
Melissa, question. When you say you've had to have an adverse reaction to an inoculation, is that specifically a COVID inoculation or any?
No, most definitely. I'm sorry. I should have said a COVID-19.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, Councillor Deneen. Okay, one question I have, not regarding COVID-19, but I have been wondering, I've been following, but not too closely. Has council talked about our predicament again yet? Did I miss that? About Nottawa Hall? There was going to be, well, wasn't there going to be another meeting for council to decide what they were thinking for the Nottawa Hall, or am I all crazy there?
We just gotten something in the last couple of days from Terry that the engineers have been going from hall to hall, and that is coming. It's still in the works. Thanks, Carrie. Okay. And Jason might be able to help us more with that. I was talking to Jason on Saturday, and he did tell me a few other things, but it would only be secondhand. So I'd rather he told us. Okay. So if we can just wait until he's back, that would be great. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Anybody have anything to add or discuss, or?
I have a question. When are we likely to meet in person again? Has anyone thought about it? Because some groups I'm involved with are meeting in person.
I'll speak to that if I can, Carrie. The township did pass a resolution that said that council meetings and all board meetings would continue to be meeting in virtual state, and will be reviewed in January. Okay. So for your next meeting, maybe next two, the meetings will be probably in this form, and we'll review it again under recommendation from the health unit, of course. I think it's good to point out, though, that the communities are, overall the community is doing very well. We are able to meet, with people, and I've had meetings with people in person and maintain the social distancing and mask wearing and hand sanitizing, all those things that we're all supposed to be doing for the last 2 years. So it's encouraging to know that there is possibility of change. But we did have a policy that was passed by council that now indicates that all of our meetings will continue in this fashion. So there you go. I can't give you an answer then to how far that will be and when that will change, because as we've all heard, it changes every 20 minutes. So, by tomorrow, there'll be a new regulation. Just saying.
Thanks, Mayor Measures. Adam,
Thank
did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question. I guess more of a, I should have brought this up, I guess, in the bookings comment, but I was approached, and I guess maybe Kelvin, I did a quick tour with Kelvin of the hall, and I was wondering the size of like a freezer that we have there. I was approached by Nottawa Elementary about potentially using freezer space for a fundraiser that they're doing. If I'm out to lunch on that, let me know. But I just said I thought I would ask and see what's possible. They do I guess they do a biannual chicken fundraiser through Elmira Poultry. That was usually done through the school, and I guess with the COVID restrictions right now at the school, they can't have any volunteers in and out of the school. But they're looking for somewhere that they could do a pickup, sort of like a drive-through pickup for this fundraiser. But you need to have like a significant amount of freezer space, I believe, to make it happen. So I don't know if that's something that we could do and talk about or what.
Yeah.
Well, my initial reaction, I think it's a great idea, and if we can help the Nottawa school with a fundraiser, I think we should investigate it.
Okay.
They would probably have to come up with a safety plan again, and they would have to limit who was coming and going. And one of us might have to be there, but I'm sure that can happen. I'll speak for myself there, but yeah, that's the only thing. And I'm wondering too about the state of our kitchen. Carrie and I went in and cleaned it up way back when. Just wondering if it's going to need that again, because I understood the fridge was left in a bit of disarray unless the cleaners have been in. Calvin, any?
To my knowledge, the cleaners haven't been in. I did unplug the fridges and put the cords over and left the doors open to defrost. I'm gonna go back in and see what it looks like tomorrow. Actually, I was planning on doing it tonight, thinking we had a meeting tomorrow, but I guess we switched it to Wednesday, this one. But anyway, so I'm gonna pop in and have a look, but we probably will need to do a cleanup in the kitchen for sure. As for freezer space, so we've got like there's a freezer in the bar, so it would be like
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Chest freezer.
4 foot by 3 foot, probably by 3 foot roughly, chest freezer. Plus the double door fridge is a freezer, and the other fridge, is that a combo fridge freezer? I'm not even 100% sure on that one, if it's a combo fridge freezer or not, or if it's just a fridge.
So the tall unit downstairs that's on the south wall that stands by itself,
Yep.
that actually is a freezer. But most people who use the hall just turn it to a setting where it acts like a fridge because it's open and
Yep.
closed. But I know from when we've held the lobster fest there, the leftovers, I put them in that fridge thinking I would pick them up the next morning, and I got there and they were frozen solid. So that thing works really well. So if it's set to cold, it'll be frozen. So that's a good little unit right there. That tall unit that we have.
Okay. Well, why don't I? It's my wife sits on the board at the hall, or sorry, at the school. That's where this came up. So again, if somebody's needed to be there for pickup and drop off and things like that, I can volunteer myself. But why don't I get a little bit more information from the school about what it contains and how much and when this is supposed to happen, and then I'll propose that to the board going forward.
Yeah.
For it.
Yeah, just making sure that we would have enough freezer space, because I think
Yeah.
it's great. I think it's a great way that we could help out.
Yep.
And to that extent, to that point as well, it's just another question that was brought up at the school. They apparently used to always do scrap metal bin program through the school, and I think she mentioned that you guys, maybe the hall, started doing a scrap metal donation in the past. Was that happening in recent years?
3 months ago.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Phyllis.
We did it back in March. And it's always something that's definitely required and needed. Like there's constantly people getting rid of their patio furniture and their old barbecues. So, in the fridge, dishwasher, that sort of thing. So yeah, by all means, we will do it maybe again in the spring, depending on what comes. So by all means, yeah.
Was the
Excellent.
school thinking of using the hall? Like the
Well-
hall property?
Well, again, that was the question, was if the hall was still doing the program. I guess it is a big money maker, obviously, for fundraising from in the past for the school. So they weren't sure if the hall was still doing it. They didn't want to do something that, a few weeks apart, but they were interested in if there's a possibility to do like a joint venture sort of type of thing with the hall and the school.
They've typically done it in right at the school. Other years they have their own bin at the school in the parking lot. The end of the parking lot is where they've typically had it. So.
And again, I guess the proposal was that they can't put the bin at the school with current COVID requirements. So.
Well, we've got the sign out front, we can, it's, the thing of it is, Adam, it's not quite as easy as some people think it is.
Oh,
You
for
have to have somebody there. We had the tractor over every other day to load that bin because
Oh, for
people
sure.
don't. And you'll have to have a recruitment to do it. And definitely you could put something on the sign out front that it's denoting that it's the Nottawa school fundraiser at this point. Then it won't look like we're being totally greedy and going at it twice too. But that's my thoughts on it. Just you've got to have a good crew that'll help you lift and fix and put stuff in the bin, because we were over there constantly and I was cleaning up nails and broken glass, and it's work.
Yeah,
So-
I would think so. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, I something for them to think about, and I can just take it back and let them know. But I think the chicken fundraiser sounded like more of a
Well, no,
something.
the scrap metal is a really, really profitable one if somebody's willing to donate the bins and you don't have to, like we had. And Brandon, I think, did it then at that point too for the school. I'm not entirely certain, but
Perfect.
yeah, I'm speaking for everybody else here, but I'm, it's just, I'm sure we could have the sign out front stating that it was for the Nottawa school. I'm sure nobody would object to that.
No, I appreciate that information. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Thanks, Councillor Deneen. The other thing, just to bring up, our next meeting on November 11th. Again, I'm still involved in Barrie at that point, teaching. So I know for sure I can't do it on the 11th. I don't know if we want to look at moving it to the 10th or whether you want to keep it on the 11th and know that you're not going to have everyone.
I will not be available on the 11th.
I don't think I will be either. I don't.
Okay, so why don't we look at moving it to the 10th? And then if Jason has any concerns, he can send that, I'll message him and just let him know that's what we've talked about. And if he's got any conflicts or concerns, he can let us know. If that works for everyone.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I thought too, the 11th is a little bit of an iffy day anyway, but
100%.
okay. All right, anybody else have any concerns? All right, anybody want a motion?
I'll put forward a motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Calvin.
And I'll second that.
Thanks, Councillor Deneen. All in
Thank you,
favor?
Carrie.